Before 1989, Hillsborough was just the name of one of England's famous old football grounds. But for the last 2 decades, the word Hillsborough has evoked memories of Britain's worst ever sporting disaster.
Liverpool versus Nottingham Forest, a repeat of the 1988 FA Cup semi-final. Same venue, Sheffield Wednesday's Hillsborough Stadium. After the shock defeat by Wimbledon in the previous year's final, Liverpool were hoping that this year they would win the Cup with a possibility of an Old Merseyside final against City rivals Everton. April 15th, 1989, the big day had arrived. Fans travelled from far and wide to see their beloved Reds. Liverpool was sat in the Leppings Lane end. This was regarded as unusual as the club had the bigger fan base than their rivals of the day. The match was set to kick off at 3 p.m. A misprint on tickets told supporters to turn up at 2:45 p.m. Despite this, the pens were already half full at 2:30 p.m. Allocated only 23 turnstiles to Nottingham's 60, the congestion outside of the ground was already causing havoc, with thousands of Liverpudlians all turning up at the same time. This was made worse by the police's complete inability to control the situation. No order. The call to delay kickoff should have been made. Why wasn't kickoff delayed? The instruction was given to open a gate, allowing fans to rush into the ground bypassing the turnstiles. This was surely in aid of sticking to the kickoff time. This was a stupid decision. With no stewards or police inside to direct people into the empty pens. The signage in the stadium was terrible, which meant fans headed down one tunnel into pens 3 and 4. The safe capacity for these 2 areas of the stand was almost doubled, with 3,000 being crushed against one another. Some were climbing over the fences to the safer pens either side. A barrier gave way. People were falling on top of one another. Others were being pulled into the upper tier. The cries of the Liverpool faithful echoed round the ground, yet unheard by those who could have helped. The gate was closed, stopping any more of the crowd from entering the pens. This decision was made too late. The match was abandoned. Fans were overflowing onto the pitch, unconscious bodies being passed over the fences. The scene was horrific. The Red Army was extraordinary under the circumstances, using cheap advertising hoardings as stretchers to transport the injured. Ambulances were nowhere to be seen. The order was given to not allow them onto the pitch. And the reasoning behind the decision? It was said that this was just a case of rioting and hooliganism. Not the case. One ambulance made it onto the field that day, with 40 plus waiting outside. 17 people made it to hospital. The gym of the stadium was converted into a temporary mortuary. As a result of the events of the Hillsborough disaster, over 500 people were injured, but even more unimaginable, 96 have died.
Well, I think the biggest irony is that the sun is shining now and Hillsborough's quiet, and over there to the left the green Yorkshire Hills. And who would have known that people would die here in the stadium this afternoon? I don't necessarily want to reflect on Heysel, but I was there that night broadcasting with Emlyn Hughes, and he was sitting behind me this afternoon. And after half an hour of watching stretchers going out and oxygen cylinders being brought in and ambulance sirens screaming, he touched me on the shoulder and he said, "I can't take any more." And Emlyn Hughes left. The gymnasium here at Hillsborough is being used as a mortuary for the dead. And at this moment, stewards have got little paper bags and they're gathering up the personal belongings of the spectators, and the red and white scarves of Liverpool, and red and white bobble hats of Liverpool, and red and white rosettes of Liverpool, and nothing else. And the sun shines now.